I'm 88 years old. My name is Claire. I was an office manager for 35 years. I've been a widow for 10 years now. I don't have a lot of time left. My body is slowing down. I know how this ends. And there's something I need to tell you before I go. Something I've been carrying for a decade. Since the day I finally understood what I'd done. I said we can't afford it for 50 years. Every time my husband wanted to take a trip, every time my kids asked to join something, every time there was a chance to do something, experience something, live a little, we can't afford it, but we could. We had money. Not rich people money, but enough, more than enough. I said we can't afford it when what I really meant was I'm terrified, and I didn't even know I was lying. I thought I was being responsible, practical, smart. I was wrong. And now my husband is gone and I'm sitting on more money than I'll ever spend and I can't buy back a single moment. This is hard to admit. I've thought about it every single day for 10 years. And I'm going to tell you exactly how I destroyed my family's joy without ever meaning to. How I confused fear with wisdom and taught everyone I loved to do the same. It started when I was 28, newly married to David. I grew up poor, not struggling, a little poor, real poverty, the kind where you don't know if there will be dinner, where the electricity gets shut off in February, where you wear the same shoes until they literally fall apart. I got up. I worked hard, got a job, started earning decent money. $18,000 a year in 1964. That felt like a fortune. David and I had been married 6 months when he suggested we take a weekend trip for our first anniversary. Nothing fancy. A little cabin by a lake 2 hours away. $200 total. I felt my stomach drop. That familiar panic. We can't afford it, I said. We need to save for emergencies. We had $3,000 in savings. David looked disappointed, but he didn't push. You're right, he said. We should be responsible. And everyone agreed with me. My mother praised me. My coworkers praised me. Smart woman, they said. So responsible. Not like these young people who blow their money on vacations. I felt virtuous. I felt smart. I felt safe. I didn't know I just started a pattern that would last 50 years. For 5 decades, every time someone in my family wanted something, I said the same thing. We can't afford it. My son wanted to join Little League when he was 8, $50 a month for the season. We can't afford it right now. Maybe next year. Next year, I said the same thing. My daughter wanted to take piano lessons, $30 a week, too expensive. We need to be practical. Family vacation to Disney World? Absolutely not. Do you know what that costs? My husband wanted to take ballroom dancing classes in our 40s. He saw a flyer at the community center. He was excited. He said, Claire, look, Friday nights, just $15 a class. We could learn to dance together. I didn't even hesitate. That's $60 a month. That's a waste of money. He folded up the flyer and never mentioned it again. Every Christmas, we did modest gifts while the savings account grew bigger and bigger. Every birthday was small. Every anniversary was dinner at home. And people kept praising me. You're so good with money. You're so sensible. Your kids are learning good values. I thought I was teaching them responsibility. I thought I was keeping us safe. I was teaching them that life is something you prepare for, not something you live. The pattern repeated week after week, year after year. Someone would want something, not need. Want, and I would feel that panic in my chest, and I would say, no, we can't afford it. I remember one specific moment. It was 1998. My daughter Sarah was a senior in high school. She came home with a flyer. Her French class was taking a trip to Paris over spring break. 2 weeks, $1,200 per student. She sat down at the kitchen table across from me. She was 17. She slid the flyer over. "Mom," she said, "I really want to go." I looked at the price, $1,200. I felt my heart start racing. "Sarah, that's ridiculous. We can't afford that." "Can we even talk about it?" she asked. "There's nothing to talk about. That's too much money for a vacation." "But Mom, all my friends are going." "It's Paris. I said no." She looked at me for a long moment. Then she picked up the flyer, nodded, and went to her room. She never brought it up again. We had $47,000 in savings. She worked at Dairy Queen that summer. She saved every penny. I thought, good. She's learning the value of money. Years later, she was in her 40s. She told me that she'd watched all her friends' photos from Paris. They'd bring them to school, talk about the trip for months. And she'd pretend she hadn't wanted to go anyway, pretend she didn't care. "It's fine, Mom," she said when she told me. "I understand you were trying to be responsible." But her voice was flat, and I knew it wasn't fine. I didn't wake up until I was 78. David had died the year before. Stroke. Quick. He was 77. I was organizing our finances, going through accounts, papers, statements, all the things you have to do. And I added it all up, $340,000. We had $340,000 in savings and investments. I sat at the kitchen table with the statements spread out in front of me, and I couldn't breathe. We'd lived like we were broke for 50 years. I started making a list. I don't know why. Maybe I needed to see it written down. Everything we'd said no to. The anniversary weekend, the baseball season, the piano lessons, the dancing classes, the family vacation, the France trip. David had wanted to drive cross-country when he retired. Route 66, he'd said. Wouldn't that be something? Too expensive, I'd said, and who knows how long the car would hold up. He never saw the Grand Canyon. He died having never left the Midwest. The list was 5 pages long. 5 pages of trips we didn't take, classes we didn't join, experiences we didn't have, memories we didn't make. All so we could feel safe. All so I could feel safe. And sitting there at 78, 1 year after burying my husband, I realized we were safe. We were so safe. And we never lived. I felt nauseous. Actually nauseous. I ran to the bathroom and dry heaved over the toilet. The poverty I'd been so terrified of never came. We never had the emergency I was saving for. But I'd created a different kind of poverty. A poverty of living. A poverty of joy. If you're doing this, you probably don't realize it yet either. You say we can't afford it. And you believe it. You feel responsible, practical, smart. And society agrees with you. People praise financial responsibility. People praise saving. People call you wise for not living beyond your means. No one tells you that you might be living so far below your means that you're barely living at all. I see this everywhere now. I see it in my daughter. I see it in my friends' children. Maybe I see it in you. You say we can't afford it when you have money in savings, when you have money in checking, when you could afford it but you're afraid. Afraid of what? The emergency that might come, the job loss that might happen, the future that might go wrong. So you sacrifice the present to protect yourself from a future that might never arrive. I did this with everything. My son wanted to go to a slightly more expensive college, better program for what he wanted to study. $3,000 more per year. Too expensive. You can get the same degree at state. He went to state. He was fine. But he always wondered what the other school would have been like. My husband wanted to buy a nicer car when he turned 60. Nothing fancy, just something comfortable for his bad back. Our car works fine. We can't afford to be wasteful. He drove that uncomfortable car for another 15 years. Every decision, every day, I chose safety over living, and I called it responsibility. Here's what I wish I'd understood. There's a difference between being responsible and being controlled by fear. Responsible is having savings, having an emergency fund, planning for the future. Fear is having plenty of money and still saying no to life because you're terrified of some disaster that hasn't happened. I wasn't being responsible. I was being afraid, and I dressed up that fear in the language of wisdom. My mother lived through the Depression. She used to say, "Save every penny. You never know what's coming." She was right. You don't know what's coming, but I took that lesson and twisted it. I saved for the disaster. I prepared for the catastrophe. And I forgot that while I was preparing to survive, I could have been living. So what do you do instead? Here's what I wish I'd known. What I'd tell myself at 28 if I could go back. Number 1, decide what enough savings means and then stop. I never knew when we had enough. There was no number that would make me feel safe. So lovely to skip growing while life kept waiting. Sit down today. Figure out what a real emergency fund looks like. 6 months of expenses, a year, whatever helps you sleep, and save that much. And when you hit it, stop treating every dollar like it's protecting you from doom. Start today. What's your emergency fund number? Write it down. If you don't have one, you'll never feel like you have enough. Number 2, ask yourself, am I saying no because we truly can't afford it or because I'm afraid? This is the hard one. Because fear feels like truth. It feels like wisdom. When your kid wants to join something, when your spouse wants to take a trip, when there's something that costs money, pause. Don't immediately say no. Ask yourself, can we actually not afford this? Or am I just scared? Look at your bank account. Really look. If you have savings, if you have money beyond your emergency fund, then we can't afford it. Might be a lie you're telling yourself. The truth might be, I'm afraid if we spend this, something bad will happen. Start today. The next time you want to say we can't afford it, stop. Check your account. Ask if it's true. Number 3, spend money on memories, not things. I said no to experiences and yes to accumulating cash. And now I have money and no memories. Experiences end, trips end, classes end, but the memory of them, that's what you keep. My husband is gone. You know what I wish I had? I wish I had the memory of dancing with him, of watching him try to learn the steps, stepping on my toes, laughing. I wish I had the memory of that anniversary weekend he wanted when we were young. I don't wish I had more money. I have too much money. Start today. What's one experience someone in your life has asked for? A trip, a class, a day out. Say yes to one, just one. Number 4, let your kids do the things. This one breaks my heart the most. My daughter never forgot France. She's 62 now. She went to Paris a few years ago. I paid for it, trying to make up for it, and she said it was beautiful. But Mom, she said, it's not the same. At 17, with my friends discovering it for the first time, that would have been magic. At 58, it was just nice. You can't buy back time. Your kids want to join the team, the club, the trip, and you say no because of money you have. What are you saving it for? Their college fund? They might not remember college as well as they remember the soccer season where they scored the winning goal. Their inheritance? They'd rather inherit the memory of a childhood where their parents said yes. Start today. If your kid has asked to do something and you've said no because of money, really look at your finances. Can you actually afford it? If yes, change your answer. Number 5. Use the money while you can. I'm 88. I have money I can't spend. My body won't let me travel anymore. My husband is gone. My friends are gone. I can't use this money in any way that matters. I keep it and I manage it and it grows. And what's the point? You think you're saving for later, but later might not come. Or later might come when you're too old, too tired, too alone. Don't wait for retirement to live. Don't wait for someday. Someday might be too late. Start today. What's one thing you've been putting off until you have enough money or enough time? Look at your life right now. Can you do a version of it now? Number 6, notice what fear has cost you. Make a list like I did, but make it now while you can still change it. What have you said no to in the last year because of money? What has your spouse asked for? Your kids. What have you wanted yourself? Write it down. Then next to each thing, write what you actually spent that money on instead. Did you say no to the weekend away and instead left it in checking? Said no to the dance class and instead let it accumulate. Fear costs you life, and unlike money, you can't get that back. Start today. Make the list. Look at what fear has taken. Decide if you want to keep paying that price. Number 7, remember that your kids are watching. My daughter does the same thing I did. She says we can't afford it to her kids what I know she can. I gave her my fear like it was a gift, like it was wisdom. She's teaching her children that money is more important than memories, that safety is more important than living. This fear passes down. It becomes a family inheritance. You can break it. You can be the one who says, actually, we can. Let's do it. Start today. If you have kids, notice the next time you say, we can't afford it. Is it true, or are you passing down fear? Number 8, apologize if you've already done this. A few years ago, I sat down with my kids. They're in their 60s now. I said, I need to tell you something. I said no to you your whole lives because I was afraid, not because we couldn't afford it, because I was scared, and I'm sorry. My daughter cried. My son was quiet for a long time. I know, Mom, he said. I figured that out. I'm sorry, I said again. It didn't fix it, but it was the truth. And they deserved the truth. If you've done this, if you've said no out of fear and called it responsibility, tell them. Apologize. It won't undo it, but it's something. Start today. If you need to apologize, do it. Don't wait. Don't assume they don't need to hear it. Number 9, spend some money badly. This sounds crazy, but I'm serious. For 50 years, I never spent money on anything that wasn't necessary, and I was so proud of that. But you know what? Life isn't just necessities. Spend money on something impractical, something frivolous, something that just makes you happy. Buy the expensive coffee, get the fancy dinner, take the day trip, waste a little money on purpose. just to prove to yourself that the world won't end. Start today. Spend $20 on something you want but don't need, just to practice, just to feel what it's like to choose joy over fear. Number 10, decide what you want your life to add up to. I'm 88, I'm at the end, and when I look back, you know what I see? Numbers, bank statements, account balances. I don't see memories. I don't see experiences. I don't see joy. I see proof that I was safe. And that's all. Is that what you want? When you're old, when you're at the end, do you want to have been safe, or do you want to have lived? Start today. Imagine yourself at 88. What do you want to remember? Then live in a way that creates those memories. David died 10 years ago. At his funeral, people told stories about how kind he was, how patient, how he never complained. No one told stories about things we did because we didn't do things. They told stories about who he was, and he was wonderful. But I wish there had been stories about adventures we took, trips we went on, experiences we had. After everyone left, I went home to the house we'd lived in for 45 years. I walked through the rooms. Everything was paid off. Everything was secure. And it was so quiet. I found an old card he'd given me for our 25th anniversary. He'd written inside, 25 years with my best friend. Here's to 25 more adventures. We never had the adventures. We had 25 more years of safe, of careful, of we can't afford it. I sat in our living room, the living room where we'd watch TV every night, instead of learning to dance, instead of taking trips, instead of living. And I cried, not pretty crying, ugly, gasping crying, the kind where you can't breathe, because I finally understood. Too late, but I understood. I didn't keep us safe from poverty. I kept us poor. Poor in the ways that matter. Poor in memories. Poor in joy. Poor in life lived. And David died never knowing anything different. He died never having danced with me, never having seen Paris, never having taken that anniversary weekend. He died thinking we couldn't afford it, but we could. We always could. I'm 88 now. I have money, so much money. I've tried to make up for it. I've taken my grandchildren on trips. I've given money to my kids. I've spent some of it on myself, trips I take alone, experiences that feel hollow. But you can't buy back time. My daughter went to Paris when she was 58. I paid for everything. She sent me photos. She said it was beautiful. But she also said, it's not what it would have been at 17, Mom. At 17, with my best friends, discovering it for the first time, that would have been magic. At 58, it was just a trip. I have money. I have security. I have everything I spent 50 years building. And my primary emotion is regret. Regret for confusing fear with wisdom. Regret for teaching my children that money matters more than memories. Regret for all the times I said we can't afford it, when what I meant was, I'm too afraid. My husband died having never wasted money on joy. And I'm still here, wealthy and healthy and alone, understanding too late what actually mattered. If you're doing this, if you're saying we can't afford it, when you could please stop. Look at your bank account. Really look. If you have savings, if you have stability, then maybe you can afford more than you think. Your kids will only be young once. Your spouse won't live forever. You won't live forever. The emergency you're saving for might never come. And while you're saving for it, life is happening now. Stop reading this. Look at your accounts. Look at what you said no to. Then go find your family. Tell them you've changed your mind. Say yes to the trip. Say yes to the class. Say yes to the class. Say yes to the weekend away. Say yes before it's too late. I can't get back the 50 years I spent saying no. I can't get back the life we didn't live. I can't get back David. But you still have time. They're still here. The money is still there. You can still choose differently. Don't make my mistake. Go.